Ever get the sneaking suspicion you've been lied to? Well, chances are, if you've ever watched the History Channel, you're probably the victim of deceit. Because despite what their name might imply, much of the History Channel's productions are far from historically accurate and trustworthy. That goes double for their reality shows, which are the biggest culprits of their deceptive tactics. In this video, we're going to be shining the light on several occasions where the History Channel has been caught up in scandals. We'll cover a few cases where they bent the truth or even straight up lied to the public, as well as several times the stars of their shows turned out to be crooks. Alone contestants are never really alone. In this survival reality series, participants are dropped off in the middle of nowhere with just enough supplies and gear to fend for themselves. While the show implies they're totally alone on their little excursion, that's not entirely accurate. While the History Channel program stakes the claim that its contestants self-film all the footage, there are quite a few shots that imply otherwise. Likewise, the survivalists aren't always actually dropped off in the middle of nowhere. Often a small town or a vast network of trails is nearby. So despite what they might claim, help is never really that far away. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. And stick around for more juicy stuff about the History Channel shows. Alaskan bush people don't even live in Alaska. History's Alaskan bush people might be a thoroughly entertaining program, but after sleuth-like fans started investigating the Brown family a bit deeper, they started wondering whether or not the show was actually as real as it claims, or if it's scripted. In 2015, our suspicions were confirmed when cast members Bam Bam and Billy pled guilty to charges of second-degree falsification for claiming to be residents of Alaska even though they were living in other states. In Alaska, full-time residents are offered a financial incentive to remain in the state. The Alaskan Permanent Fund Division hands out that money, but after Bam Bam and Billy were caught lying about their residency, they were sentenced to a month in jail and forced to pay back thousands of dollars in fines and fees to the state. Bamazon's Murderous Scandal. In this reality series, a group of 8 construction workers from Alabama travel to the jungles of Guyana, hoping to strike it rich by discovering gold. In Season 1, the audience is introduced to Matthew Clayt McDaniel, a man described as a yoga-practicing hippie type. We're told he believes strongly in the healing power of nature, and a short clip is shown of him playing with his dog. But after being cut from the show, McDaniel was arrested in his home state for the murder of a man named Norman Dion Creighton. Law enforcement investigators allege that McDaniel shot the man and left him to die alone in the woods. American Gun's Richard Wyatt wasn't licensed to sell firearms. You'd think a show that revolves around a family of gunsmiths who own and operate Gunspoke guns would make sure the patriarch of the family was actually legally authorized to sell them. But as it turns out, Richard Wyatt never did. We only learned about this after the show had already been canceled. The Denver Post revealed that Wyatt had been stripped of his federal firearms license in 2012 after breaching federal gun laws and regulations. But that little setback didn't seem to stop him from doing his thing because he continued to sell guns by conspiring with other gun dealers to keep his family-owned business afloat. Customers would buy firearms at Gunspoke, but then they would have to pick them up at other stores in the area that were licensed. But that wasn't the last of Richard Wyatt's legal problems. In 2017, he was convicted by a federal jury of committing 10 felonies, ranging from conspiracy to fraud to tax evasion. Wyatt was given a stiff 78-month prison sentence for hiding $1.1 million worth of income from the IRS, selling guns without a proper license, and conspiracy. Naked and Afraid is completely scripted. In Naked and Afraid, a man and a woman try their best to survive in an inhospitable wilderness without anything, not even their clothes. Throughout the show's run, it's had to deal with quite a bit of controversy and scandal, and many viewers believe it's entirely fake. Season 3 contestant Honora Bowen's testimony only seems to confirm that theory. On her blog, she says she was told to fight with contestant Matt Strutzel to shake things up and make the show more interesting. She even claims the show's producers coached her on what to say. Bowen never ended up completing the challenge since she faked heat exhaustion to get out of having to do the show. The Amelia Earhart photo debacle. Amelia Earhart captured the hearts and minds of the world after she disappeared while attempting her circumnavigational flight of the globe in a Lockheed Model 10E Electra aircraft in 1937. Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan were last seen in Lae, New Guinea on July 2, 1937. Over the years, numerous theories, some more sensational than others, have attempted to explain her disappearance. Hoping to cash in on what has been called one of the biggest mysteries of the 20th century, the History Channel aired the documentary Amelia Earhart: The Lost Evidence in 2017. The show focused on a newly discovered piece of photographic evidence consisting of a photo they claimed was taken after she had vanished. They even suggested Earhart and Noonan had survived a crash and were taken captive by the Japanese. The startling new theory caused quite a stir until a Japanese military blogger named Kota Yamano noticed some glaring inaccuracies in their claims. According to him, the photo was actually taken before the infamous flight took off. Furthermore, the folks in the photo weren't even Earhart and Noonan, they just looked like them. After news broke that the documentary's claims were bogus, the History Channel put out a statement saying they would continue to investigate Earhart's disappearance and that historical accuracy is the most important thing to both them and their viewers. Ancient aliens' wild claims about Puma Punku. If you've ever seen an episode of history's Ancient Aliens, then you probably know to take anything you hear on that program with a grain of salt. Pretty much everything said is either a misrepresentation of history or completely fabricated. A great example of this is when the show discussed the ancient archaeological site of Puma Punku in Bolivia. It's the location where the Inca believed the world was created, and over the years it's been subject to many different outlandish theories. While archaeologists believe that the temple was constructed as early as 536 AD, the so-called experts on ancient aliens claim that it's instead more than 17,000 years old. They further insist the blocks that the temple was constructed out of were all perfectly uniform in nature, and that they levitated even though they're quite heavy. Anyone with half a brain knows that would be impossible. Ice road truckers' jobs really aren't that dramatic. While there's no denying that driving huge trucks on at times very thin ice is pretty dangerous, history's ice road truckers goes out of its way to dial up the drama by scripting lines for the drivers and embellishing their personas. But the show wouldn't be half as interesting if it was just about a normal trucker who didn't run into any trouble along their route. The United States government has always celebrated Christmas. The History Channel's 2020 holiday special, Christmas Unwrapped, made the claim that the U.S. government didn't recognize Christmas as a national holiday and essentially just treated it as another day from 1789 to 1856. While this might raise a few eyebrows, it's been proven to be completely untrue, because the House and Senate are well documented as having always had the day off from work. Hitler did not flee to Argentina. The pervasive rumor that Hitler escaped to Argentina isn't just a lie, but it's also a fairly offensive one. But even though there is very little, if any, evidence to back this insane theory, the History Channel devoted an entire series to chasing after sketchy leads in hopes of giving some credibility to the thoroughly debunked hypothesis. Adolf Hitler died in a bunker on April 30th, 1945, when he shot himself in the head after learning that Soviet troops were within a block or so of the Reich Chancellery. His wife, Eva Braun, died beside him after biting into a cyanide pill. All of that is well documented. Now it's time to hear from you. What do you think about the History Channel's programming? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.